I have a confession to make. I'm not an autumn person. I assume that this surprises people. Goths, for one thing, love Halloween. Knitters, meanwhile, love sweater weather. And I am both a goth and a knitter. So I should be extra obsessed with autumn. Right? Wrong. The truth is, I dread autumn, because autumn means winter is coming. It means that soon the days will get shorter and the nights darker. It means the weather will get cold and wet and miserable. It means always swaddling yourself so much you can barely move and never seeing the sun outside of work. It means enduring months of dull, grey dreariness. It means hating every day for pretty much half of every year. I know there are plenty of people who don't see it that way though. People who don't mind the cold and the dark, or even people who relish the coziness they create as a shield against it. And I wonder, is it possible for me to become one of those people? Could I reframe my thoughts and change my mindset around winter? Could I learn to appreciate a time of year I usually find depressing? I figured that maybe I can distract myself with something I enjoy, and at the same time give myself some positive associations with the season. Knitting is something that brings me great joy, as well as serenity and purpose, and as luck would have it, I find myself in dire need of a new hat and a new pair of gloves for winter. I've knitted hats previously. My go-to hat is the Beanstalk hat by Baroque Pearls from Old Maiden Ant Yarns in the colour Lip Gloss. I really like it, but with it being 4-ply, it's not quite as warm as I need once it gets properly cold. It's also just a little on the big side and slips off a little too easily. So I want a second hat for the days where the chill is more biting. So I'm about to start winding yarn for this hat project, and I thought, I'll go look for the needles that I need so I can cast on as soon as I'm ready with the yarn. And the needles I want are the exact same needles I used to knit this shawl, which I finished just a few weeks ago, and I've been away for a week, so it's not moved in that time, the needles. I can't find them. I have no idea what I did with them. They've vanished into thin air. Don't know what I've done with them. But I did look in the sofa cushions, and I didn't find my knitting needles, but I did find a wool needle, darning needle, that I've been looking for absolutely ages. Also a little spool bobbin thingy of embroidery thread, and a stitch marker that I didn't know I'd lost. So there we go. That's what happens when a crafter searches her sofa. I'm knitting with 2-ply merino wool by Studio Donegal that I bought as a souvenir yarn when I visited Dublin earlier this year. It's a DK weight yarn, and I'm casting on with 4.5mm needles, which are the needles that I couldn't find earlier, by the way. They were on the floor in my craft room. Also, I will later realise that I should have cast on with 3.5mm needles because of the ribbing. I decided to just leave this rather than start over, figuring it can't hurt to have a stretchier cast on edge. Also, I didn't really want to start over. I figured it wasn't a big enough mistake to warrant it, to be honest. The pattern I'll be using is the Norway Pine Hat by Sarah Rhodey, which is a free pattern featuring cables and seed stitch. The pattern includes 2 variations, one with 3 repeating sections and one with 4. I'll be knitting the one with 3 repeating sections. I just accidentally dipped my needle in my glass of water. Whoops. I have made some progress. This is how much I have knit. Now, this looks like a good amount. You might hear that I'm not sounding very happy about it. And that's because I kind of tried it on a little bit earlier. And, oops, would help if the needles aren't getting in the way. My god, the needles are getting in the way, okay. So that looks like it fits, right? Except I can fit a solid hand in there. That's not gonna stay. You might remember I said in my intro that one of the problems with my current hat is that it doesn't stay on my head very well. Like it stays alright right now, but there's no wind right now. I'm not like, you know, moving my head as I'm walking around and stuff like that. And this one, you may notice, I can also very easily fit both my hands in there. It doesn't stay. They're a similar kind of width. So that's not ideal. So I'm gonna have to make this smaller, and I am gonna have to rip it out and redo it from the beginning, which makes me sad. This isn't like that much work. It's currently Monday evening, and I've been knitting on this since Friday evening. I think I cast on Friday evening. So it's only a couple of hours work that I'll have to undo and redo, but it's still annoying because I do want this hat as soon as possible. I have other things I need to be knitting, so I need to work out how much smaller I need to make this. So if I do that, and then I like, let me find a point that doesn't have needles sticking out of it. God, I'm making a mess of my hair, aren't I? It's such a scientific way to do it. See, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 stitches I think I need to decrease. Wow. Okay, do I have a small head? I think decrease 16. So, right, okay, so that's decided. I'm unraveling this, which is sad, but it's fine. Okay, I'm glad that's decided. I'm not glad about what I've decided necessarily, but there we are. Oh no, what have I done? Today is the 3rd of October, and it's been quite mild till now, but today it's gone cold and I wish I had a pair of gloves. It's update time! It is Sunday, the second Sunday after I initially cast on, the first Sunday after I recast on. This is how far I've got. It is about 4 inches, which is what we want for the brim, bearing in mind that it will fold like this. Yeah, that looks good, doesn't it? I just need to get back round to the beginning of round. And then it's time to transfer to my other needles. Where did I put my other needles? They're over here. Which is great because I need these ones for something else, for another project. And then we'll be starting the cabling. Now, so because I decreased 16 stitches from what the pattern originally said, I'm going to have to do a little bit of, not maths, but, so the pattern says to repeat the chart 3 times, and within the chart there is a section of seed stitch and a section of cable. Obviously I have decreased 16 stitches, which will come out of the seed stitch, but 16 doesn't go into 3. So what I think I'll do is we'll basically have one slightly narrower panel of seed stitch. I'll have 2 of the 3 seed stitch panels just decrease 4 stitches, and the other one decrease 8. Does that work? Yeah, that works. Oh, also, funny little story to tell you. When I was walking and knitting the other day, in the footage that I filmed, I had my knitting bag with my yarn in it, just like dangling from my wrist. Initially, I kept my yarn in my backpack. The problem with that being that I pulled on my yarn and I don't know if it got stuck on something, maybe on the zip of my bag or something, but it broke. It snapped. So I was like, oh well, okay, I can reattach yarn back together, that's fine. And I was like, oh, I don't really want a knot though. Like ideally, because this is not superwash, ideally I would felt it back together. I'd get a bit of water and felt it back together. And I was like, but I don't have any water on me right now. So I spit spliced it. I stopped on a bench, and when no one was looking, or when I think no one was looking, I spit spliced it. So yes, there is actual spit of mine in this hat. I know that's gross, I'm sorry. But it means I don't have any knots inside my... I don't know, and I don't have any ends to weave in. That's the main thing. I don't have any ends to weave in. I want to have as few ends as possible. Have I got to the beginning of round yet? No, not quite. So, yeah. Oh, that was a fun time. Okay, I've reached the beginning / end of round. Yay! And I have to turn the camera off now because the pattern is on my phone and the camera is also on my phone. So I can't proceed without looking at my phone. So I'll update you later once I've started the pattern, I guess. Bye. I did it! I math strong, but thankfully I math strong in the preferable way. I don't know if I accidentally only cast on 12 viewer stitches rather than 16 viewer stitches, because I thought I'd need to do 4 viewer seed stitches on 2 of the repeats, and then 8 viewer on the 3rd and final one, but that wasn't the case. I got to the end of the 3rd one and went, I have too many stitches. There's an extra 4 stitches here, so I undid that. I tinked back and I added 4 extra to the seed stitch section, because I was like, well, I could just do 4 random seed stitches at the end and move my beginning of round, but then I was like, oh, I'll have all of the seed stitch sections be different widths. I'll have one narrow, one the right width, and one wide. I was like, or I could have them all the same with relatively minimal effort, you know, an extra few minutes to take. So I did the extra few minutes. I did it and redid it. And yeah, I've added stitch markers between all of the sections, both the repeats and between the cables section and the seed stitch sections. So yeah, yay! it is the next Monday. What is the date? I think it's the 14th. So I've been knitting on this for a solid week, and this is what I've got so far. I've started the decreases for the top. I started those yesterday, and I keep worrying that I'm gonna run out of yarn. I think at the moment, that's the wrong yarn. I have 2 projects in my project bag. Yes, it gets tangled. This is how much yarn I've got. I think I started panicking a little bit when I got to, like, you know, around here somewhere, and I looked at how much the ball of yarn had decreased from, like, when it was full to it was like this, and I was like, oh no. But looking at this now and looking at how many rounds I still have left to go on the chart, I think I'll be okay. I might be playing a tiny bit of yarn chicken, but I think we'll be fine. I'm panicking less about this now because, you know, I've already started the decreases. You can see how the seed stitch section is, like, going in here. I kept thinking over the weekend, maybe I'll finish it today, and then I didn't. And right now it's 8:30, if not nearly 9. Oh, it's 5 to 9. And I still need to wash my hair before bed. So I don't think this is getting done tonight, but maybe it'll get done tomorrow, because I still have another, like, commute tomorrow and sometime in the evening. So maybe I'll have a finished hat tomorrow, which will be nice, because I'm going to start needing it soon. I really should have started with the gloves, because my hands are getting cold in the mornings. It is time. Why is Pearl 2 together so hard? So, today's Wednesday. I did not finish the hat on Tuesday, as I said I would, because what I did instead is I got home from work, I had some food, I did my singing lesson, then my partner got home and I chatted with him a little bit, and then I went, you know, I've had a headache since before I left work, and painkillers have not helped. I'm gonna go and lie in a dark room for a little bit, so I went and got into bed just to lie down, you understand, and that was it. That was it for the evening. That was all I did. I fell asleep, obviously. I felt a lot better for having a slightly ridiculous amount of sleep. I guess I needed the extra sleep, which is fair because I hadn't had enough sleep the last few days. So, yeah, that's probably why I had the headache. Anyway, finishing it now, or at least soon. Where am I? What am I doing? Doing some decreases right now, some of which are a little awkward. The temperature is being super weird at the moment. It was absolutely freezing the other day. Today it was actually alright. It wasn't too cold. It was very grey though. Very grey. Sorry, we'll do together again. It's weird. There's 2 Pearl 2s together in each pattern repeat. One of them, every time I've done it, fine, easy peasy, not a problem. The second one though, every single time I've been like, anyway, I guess I'll shut up now, and you can hopefully enjoy watching me knit and finish off this hat. Shouldn't take me too long now. We've done a bunch of decreases, so each round is pretty short, and we're doing more decreases as we speak, so I don't think it's going to take too long. Yay! I'm excited! The chart is now finished. Look at this. It's a hat. I have a hat. Okay, I need to stop filming so that I can check. I have only the chart printed out, not the rest of the instructions. So I need to check what the pattern says about binding off, and then I'll be back. Anybody know what I did with my scissors? Oh, I have needles in there. Okay, some stitch markers. Didn't know they were in there. Oh, that's where those projects are. Okay, I can't find a single pair of scissors. That's so helpful. Oh, I can use my fabric scissors because yarn is technically fabric, right? Right, so about 8 inches. What's 8 inches? Like this? Alright, and then we have our yarn needle. Not my preferred one, but we'll make it work. My preferred one, actually, I found it down between the sofa cushions. And between the sofa cushions is kind of gross, so I need to wash it. But I haven't done that yet. It's just kind of sitting on the side, waiting for me to wash it because I think it's gross. Right, shall I go from the... I'll leave it on the cable. And I'll just kind of bloop, bloop. It says to do this twice. Okay, let me see all the stitches properly. Ooh, don't get tangled. Right, and then we're going round again. Oh, what's happened? What's happened? Why is that? What's that bit of yarn doing there? I'm so confused. What? Time to unthread. I don't understand. I've gotten things twisted and I don't know how. Wait a minute. I think it's fine. Maybe. This is going so well. This should be so easy. Trust me to make this more complicated than it needs to be. Alright, okay. And we're gonna go... Come on. Go into that stitch, please. Thank you. Okay, right. I think we've actually done it this time. Just come off the needles. And then let's pull it tight. And, oh. I snapped the yarn. Snapped the yarn. That's very annoying. There's only like the tiniest little bit there. How did I manage to get this bit wrong? Seriously. Okay. Well. If I can put just a tiny bit more, then I think that should be enough for me to felt it back together. And don't worry, I'm not going to need to actually split splice it because I have some water right here. So I'm going to just take a bit of that on my fingers, dab it on. Normally I would rub this really vigorously. Normally that would be possible because I wouldn't have such a short end to work with. But I'm going to have to be real careful with it this time. Felt, please. Nope, that's not strong enough. Nowhere near. I'm struggling. Bit more water. It's not felting. It's not felting. Help. I'm gonna try and untwist it a bit. It might be felted now. I'm gonna keep going. A little bit more friction, a little bit more warmth. Oh no, I don't think it is. Oh no. It came apart again. What do we think? Do we think this is a long enough end to just weave it in and call it done? It's a very short end. I feel like this is going to come undone. Maybe I could weave just the felt just the very top bit so it won't come undone. Maybe that could work. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to weave that little end bit and thread it back onto my needle. I'm going to try and thread it back onto my needle. It's very wispy. Very wispy indeed. Okay, right, I've managed to thread. I've poked the needle through and then threaded the yarn through. Right, okay, that's at least on the inside now. So that's good. Do I try felting the very top bit? Will I ruin it? I mean, I wove the yarn through twice, so maybe it'll just stay. I don't know. Maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. You know what I'm gonna do for now? I'm gonna just leave it. I'm gonna just leave it. I'm gonna put my hat on. Ooh, it's too tight. How do I look? Obviously I still need to weave in the other end. I'm not sure where that is exactly, but I will block it. I think it needs a little loosening, but mostly I will just lay it flat. I think this will be really nice and warm and cozy for the winter months. Yay! I decided to just leave the unwoven in yarn end for now, though I think a possible solution could be to needle felt it in place. I think this would allow for more precision than wet felting, but if you have any other ideas, let me know in the comments. Despite all the setbacks along the way, I'm really happy with how this hat turned out, and it was super satisfying to go from nothing but yarn to a completed knit in just a few weeks. It is a little tight, but I can probably stretch it out more if I block it again. I love how all the cables look, and how the colour perfectly matches the shawl that I recently finished. I feel so much more prepared for the winter now, knowing that when the cold does come, I'll have this hat to keep me cosy and comfy all winter, and that makes that prospect so much easier to face. While making this video, I purposefully kept an eye out for pretty autumnal scenes that I could use for B-roll, and I also ended up spending more time outside for filming. And while crafting does make a good salve for the winter blues, it was this looking out for the positives in this season, specifically seeking the beauty in it rather than focusing on the dreariness or the darkness, that made the biggest difference. Getting out in nature, looking at trees, feeling the sun and wind on your face, breathing in the fresh air, is said to have huge mental health benefits. And making this video gave me a great reason to make time to do just that. And it was a great reminder too to pay closer attention to nature, which was a great mindfulness exercise, and maybe appreciate more what this season offers us. Of course, it does help that it's mostly been a mild autumn so far, and I wouldn't have knitted this hat half as fast if I weren't doing it for a video. And while knitting something faster obviously isn't automatically better, it did mean that I was more focused on it and it was finished in plenty of time for me to wear it all winter. There is a bigger sense of accomplishment, I think, when you finish the thing that you are solely focused on finishing. But at the same time, you have to balance that with not rushing through the project and forcing yourself to overwork yourself to finish it. That's something I think I'm going to need to remind myself while working on my gloves, which will be the next video in this series, so keep an eye out for that next month. In the meantime, please like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'd love to hear your tips for making this time of year bearable or even pleasant in the comments, and tell me all about what you're making this autumn and winter. Happy crafting! Are you still filming? You can stop now.